always awful.
Okay, so Maddie just
We
said our intros are always awful. What do you guys think?
they
Muy
are
bien.
always. We don't even have an intro. We just like you're just like, oh, we're recording.
Wow. Okay, so I'm Sam,
And I'm Maddie.
and we're in the coffee plant review. Oh my god. Okay, so
Sam, that was awful.
you know what? You're awful. So we're
What?
gonna review The Other. That is a book called The Other by Thomas Tryon. Tryon. Hi.
However you say his last name, Thomas T.
Okay. So, it's a psychological fiction book. Maddie, why don't you give some summary about what the book is about?
So this book majorly just follows the tale of like these two twin brothers who are obviously identical. Well, not obviously, but anyway, one of them's a really bad influence, and one of them's more like kind of like the good twin, evil twin kind of trope or whatever. And so it kind of follows them through Niles trying to keep Holland out of trouble, basically the entire book. But there's a bunch of like twists, and which makes it actual physiological fiction. What the heck are you doing?
What are you talking about, Maddie? Continue.
That's majorly it. It just follows the two twin brothers throughout their whack couple through a whack couple of months, and goes incredibly terribly. Yeah. It's just Niall reflecting on past memories from decades ago. Sam, please stop combing your hair.
I'm not combing my hair.
You were. Anyway. So yeah, that's majorly the basic summary of the book. We're gonna go in a little more detail.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yes. So, let's like start with the very first scene of the book. It's it's like somebody talking about a place that they're in, and they start off by describing like this stain on the ceiling. It's I think it was like a water stain from rain or something. And he was saying that
Yeah.
um
How do you recognize the face in it?
yeah, he could recognize the face, but like this one person named Mr. Groot who has been in that like place for a really long time. He was saying she thinks it looks like a country on the map, like maybe Madagascar or something. Uh, yeah, and the mark grows bigger every day, or like every year, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So we obviously know that who's writing has been there for quite a while to know how it changes from year to year. And the like language of the first like portion of the book is kind of weird. Like the narrator repeats phrases and like talks in weird language, and it kind of sounds like suffers from like a mental disability.
Yeah.
He's completely insane.
There is a bit of foreshadowing in here because the narrator keeps saying he and him, and like he's referencing a person, but we don't really know who it is.
Yeah.
And this kind of like foreshadows who the speaker in this like beginning part is.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't know, like the speaker is actually like Niles. Or like it
Niles.
yeah,
Yeah.
it could be a Holland, but like the main plot is like that it's supposed to be Niles, I think. And
Yeah, we won't go into the other theory.
why not, Maddie?
We will go into that at the end.
Yeah, we can go into that at the end.
We will go into the
Anyway,
other theory
yeah,
at the end.
but anyways, yeah, this character who is either Niles or Holland, let's just say he's Niles for now, references Niles and Holland as like another character, which is kind of weird. I mean, it doesn't really make sense in the
Yeah.
entirety of the book now that I think about it, because he's like
Yeah.
Niles the brother, or like, but Holland,
Yeah.
like, why would you reference yourself in the third person? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But then again, he does like,
Plays into the whole thing like he's mentally unstable.
yeah, there's that too. So maybe it's that, or maybe the author just like forgot to change this.
Yeah. Whatever.
Whatever.
Either way. So
Yeah.
it moves on to like it switches from first person to third person after that little snippet. And it starts off with Niles and Holland playing in this apple cellar where they're not supposed to be, because that's where their father had tragically died. And that sort of gets the whole thing rolling when their cousin comes in there and starts saying how he's going to get them in trouble. Well, get him in trouble for being in there, since Holland is hiding behind some barrels. Yeah. And were you gonna say something or no?
No. I mean,
No, I heard something. Never mind.
Okay, wait.
Yes.
Okay, I am going to say something. Before the cousin came in, whose name is Russell, Holland is kind of described as a fox. That's like kind of interesting because Holland is the more like mentally unstable one. Like he's more of like the stabby stab murder one,
The evil twin.
Yeah, and it's like a fox. It's like more like a liar, a trickster. So
Sneaky.
yeah, that was an interesting comparison.
It kind of gives a lot to like. It kind of foreshadows his character in the whole kind of scheme of things. Yeah. So when Russell comes in, he kind of notices Niles is in there. He doesn't see Holland because Holland's hiding. And you notice that Niles has a ring that he's not supposed to have, which Russell says he's going to tell his father, who I believe is the twins' Uncle George, about it. And apparently Holland gets really upset about this fact, and ends up killing Russell's rat because of it, and then later eventually gets to Russell.
Yeah. And he kills the rat with like some kind of poison that I think he took from Miss Rose's house or something.
Yeah, it kind of says how he like fed the rat, and the rat was just eating it all, and then afterward the rat was kind of like breathing funny, then eventually just died, and then Niles throws like a funeral for it.
Yeah. And he also kills Russell by like placing a pitchfork in a pile of leaves, because like Russell was like just jumping into the pile of leaves because like he thought it was fun, and he watched like Niles and Holland do it, and he was like, oh, that seems so fun, so I'm gonna do it too. He kept doing that, and yeah, and then he died.
Yeah, well, he had stolen his glasses, so he couldn't see. So Russell couldn't see that the pitchfork was in the hay or leaves. I'm pretty sure it was hay, but I don't know.
Oh, hay. Okay.
Wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
I'm
I think it was hay.
Yeah, so the pitchfork was in there and Russell, since he didn't have his glasses, and that's like the end of whole thing because they play it off as an accident. Because they're like, oh, well, maybe he just didn't put the pitchfork back, even though they knew that, even though George knew that he had put the pitchfork back. And then they were all looking for Russell's glasses because Russell's glasses were missing. And we later learned that the Holland had,
He like
Holland
hid the
taken
glasses. Yeah.
had taken the glasses as sort of like a souvenir from killing him. So.
Oh my god, so much fun.
Yeah, souvenirs. Let's tie ourselves to these murders. Anyway, after that.
Yeah. Let's see. So Niles starts talking to his mom, and we quickly find out that his mom, like, she has like a problem remembering things.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And she like never kind of leaves her room.
and then like sometimes she would like forget what month it is, and like the seasons and stuff. But then she does read books, and Niles has like a great relationship with his mom, which kind of shows like Niles' character as like a kinder person than Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then yeah. After that, I think it's just Russell's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Russell's funeral, we kind of just get these interesting projections of Holland being like completely emotionless and staring off into space. So is Ada as well, which is interesting.
Yeah. I call her Ada, so like we might say different things.
Ada.
So like
Yeah, I don't really know how to say her name.
I don't know. She's Russian.
Yeah, it's Russian, but I don't know how to speak Russian either.
I don't know. I didn't search it up or anything.
Ada, I don't know. The grandmother.
Grandma.
I suspect she knows something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe.
Yeah, and she also plays like this game with the boys. She like holds them, I think, or something, and then they like project their feelings onto like a animal or like a flower or like some kind of organism, and they try to experience what that thing experiences. And
yeah, it's like, how does it feel?
Yeah, and it's kind of like it kind of becomes like a superpower where they're like able to like predict the future and stuff, or like they can like they can describe what the animals are seeing.
Yeah, and apparently like Niles is like a prodigy at this and like can predict like anything, and like he's like really good at projecting.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they go to a carnival. That's fun. A carnival. Yay.
Yay, and they see like a magic show where they get like ideas for their own magic, like um, what is it called? Their own magic tricks, which they're gonna perform at this dinner that happens later.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, also something interesting that happens at the carnival too. It's like Niles wanted to win this doll for Tori, who's gonna have a baby, and like the doll has a lamp on it. But then like Holland comes by and he's like, "Oh, that lamp is kind of ugly." And then he looks under it to see like if it had the private parts, and then he's like, "Oh, it's boring."
mhm. Kind
Yeah.
of creepy. Um, but yeah, then Niles later gives it to Tori, and Tori's like, "Oh, thank you. This is so
Yeah.
cute." Um, yep. And then she kind of admires it later in the night. Ryder, her husband. And she's like, "Oh, how cute he is." Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they spy on them, I think.
Yeah. And then yeah, but during the carnival, they also had this exhibit where like they got to see a bunch of like strange creatures and stuff. Like I remember there was like a
Um,
was it a
Hermione.
three-legged pig?
Yeah, I remember it was described as like smashing the word Hermes and Aphrodite together.
Hermaphrodite, yeah.
That's how it's described in the book.
Well, no, that was a
And
separate thing. That's a male and a female combined
yeah,
together.
yeah, and that's how it was described.
No, they didn't describe the pig as that.
The pig.
The pig was
Oh
something
yeah,
else.
this was a different thing. But
Yeah.
like it was in the same exhibit.
Yeah, it was in the same exhibit. They also had these dwarves. And I feel like they put a lot of emphasis on the hermaphrodite, though.
Yeah, and it kind of like freaked them out. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were confused. And then after that, they saw kind of like this weird, like baby kind of thing. I think
Yeah,
in like this little glass bowl.
I think it was a jar, right?
I don't recall.
Oh, anyways, yeah, there was like this little, like, alien baby thing. And then Holland found that really interesting. And Holland was like, oh, and it was like in some kind of liquid too. And Holland was like,
Yeah.
oh, with the big head and like weird eyes and stuff. That's gonna be what Tori's baby is gonna look like. And then like Niles was
Yeah.
like, no, stop. That's mean. Like, it's not going
Yeah.
to look like that.
Yeah. Niles was like, no, the baby's gonna be beautiful because I predicted it and stuff. And then Holland eventually is just like taps on the glass multiple times, which ends up killing the animal in the jar. And you get like another gruesome image of it being dead.
Hmm. Okay, and yeah, and then after that, um, let's yeah, and then they
After
start.
that,
There's like a scene where they watch Tori and her husband Ryder. Like they're kind of young. Um, wait, is that like their sister?
um,
Tori's
yeah,
their
their
sister, right?
sister.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, but she's like
Tori, their
adopted.
adopted sister.
Yeah.
She's kind of like she's described as like pixie-ish, and she has like red hair and freckles. I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, she apparently she looks like extremely different from them. So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And
Um,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because it's like nighttime, and like she's in
mhm.
the bed in her bedroom with her husband, and I think they were naked, and then they're like having a
Mhm.
conversation about like the baby, and then she's like describing Niles as like a really sweet boy, and she's like, "Oh, Niles can like predict things that nobody would ever know," and Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah," and now she predicted our baby would be a baby girl, and it would be really like cute and pretty and stuff.
Mhm.
And he even gave me this lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that like further describes like Niles, I guess.
Mm. And then Holland like reveals that he had watched them before, like on separate occasions, like at Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
which is also pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I think is when Holland visits Roe, I believe.
Yeah, Miss Rowe.
Miss Roe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he.
Miss Rowe as a character, she's kind of um like she's an old woman and like she has like not the best memory, I believe, but like she's not like stupid and a lot of kids like playing tricks on her and like they like pretend to be the president and then like call her and like try to use their best presidential voice but like, and then she'd
Mhm.
just like invite them over to tea and they'd like never come. It is kind of
Mhm.
sad.
Yeah, they kind of take her like as a joke, and
Yeah.
she's just like a nice old lady.
um and then Holland comes by and
And
like
then Holland comes by.
yeah, he was
He's
like
like,
hiding or
"Oh,
something. He was like trying to take more of the like food pills
I
that were
think
like
more of the
poisonous or
poison
something.
or whatever."
Huh?
Um, yeah, he tries to take more of the poison, I think, or whatever
Yeah.
he was using. And then Mrs. Rowe asked him to like get rid of this dead like rat, I think, or a mouse.
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I
He was
got
caught in a
caught
contraption.
on like a mouse trap and
Yeah.
yeah, and she doesn't
And
want to
then
touch it. Yeah. And like her caretaker
and
was like away for the week too.
yeah. And then he like goes on to be like, "Oh, can I like perform a magic trick for you?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." So she goes and like sits down. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna pull something out of my hat," and we don't really actually get to find out what he pulls out of his hat, but like I don't. But apparently, it causes her to have a heart attack, and she ends up passing away.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, and like she has like tea with her, so people were eventually able to figure out, oh, she had someone over because like her nice tea set was out, and she only takes that out whenever she has like guests.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like interesting. Um, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and then
after
like
that,
yeah, after that there was Niles at like this like outside picnic thingy, and like he was eating with his aunts, and
what? Yeah.
yeah, and then they're like talking about like upcoming like festival thingy where like he could do a magic trick. I mean, it wasn't really a festival; it's just like a family gathering. And he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, it was more like a celebration of the town because their like and like great relative was he donated like a lot of money from his will to the town.
yeah,
This is when the whole thing with the wasp happens, right? With the ants.
what? Oh yeah, the wasp. Yeah,
Yeah. So one of their aunts, Aunt Fania, I don't know how to say her
Fania.
name.
Yeah,
Fania. Apparently she's like really afraid of insects, and so and she gets like stung by a wasp and taken into the house, and there's this whole thing
Okay,
because she
she
gets
didn't just get stung by a wasp. So I think she's like
yeah,
allergic to the stings, and she knew that there were
it's
like a lot of wasps and stuff around the area. So she had like a lot of protective clothing, and she
Mhm.
had like this net around her face and neck, and then she had like gloves and everything. Like she was like super prepared. And then like she took off her net for like a little bit, while she was eating. And then I believe Holland
Mhm.
like flicked a wasp over at her and like knocked down a wasp's nest. And then she got stung like
Yeah,
that. She wasn't just sitting there and like she just randomly got stung. Like she
yeah,
took it off, then Holland flung it at her. Yeah, and then she had a reaction, and she had to be like taken to the house and the hospital and stuff.
yeah. Just really quite sad.
Yeah, and then after that happened, like everyone was like rushing to like help her out and get her to the house and stuff. And then Niles was like cleaning
Mhm.
up, and then Holland just went over to Niles and was like, "Take off that costume," because he was wearing a costume for the magic trick. And he was like, "Give
Mhm.
it to me. I want to perform the magic trick."
Yeah.
And then like that was um like do you see what's going on right here? Like,
Mhm.
she's about to die and you're just like, let me perform a magic trick. Like, no. Like,
Like,
but
no, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah, but like I think Niles just like goes along with it.
Yeah, quite sad.
Mhm. Yeah. And then later on, uh the mom, her name is Alexandria. She finds out about the little Albert can, which is this can that um like Niles kept the ring in, and there was also this
Mhm.
blue tissue paper and like a magazine, I think, or maybe
Yeah,
not the magazine, but yeah,
and then the bone of the severed finger,
yes. I
and
mean,
it's like referred to as the thing.
yeah, and I was like a bit confused throughout the book because I'm just like, what's so important about the thing and the blue tissue paper? Like, why is he
Yeah,
so afraid of his mom finding that? And it's like,
because it was just described as like this weirdly shaped kind of pencil like thing.
yeah.
Um,
And all I
like
remembered was blue tissue paper. I was like, what's so bad
yeah,
about blue
blue
tissue
tissue
paper?
paper.
I'm
Why
just
does
like,
it?
did he steal blue tissue paper or something? Like, what's going on? Like, but
Doesn't make much sense.
yeah. And then he pushes his mom down the stairs. Yeah, his mom was like
Yeah,
really
because she
distraught
figures it
over,
out.
yeah, and yeah, because like the ring is not supposed to be his, and
Yeah,
like she was like
it's supposed to be
crying,
buried with Holland.
yeah, and that was like the very first like big hint that Holland is dead. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and then right after that, we go into the store where like Miles is like reading a magazine and he's overhearing this conversation about how like these two women talking about Mrs. Rose's death. And then Niles bumps into one of them and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's the kid that bumped into me and made rude comments." And they're like, "Oh, that actually must have been Holland, his twin brother." And they're like, "No, it couldn't be because Holland's like," and it says it doesn't really exactly tell you
yeah,
right
it
then,
like gets
but
cut
then
off, but like
yeah,
that she was gonna say Holland is dead.
we knew she was said something that triggered Niles, and Niles comes back into the store and he's like, "No, that's a lie," and starts attacking her. And then Ada, his grandmother, comes and takes him off of her, and he's like, "No, you know that's not a lie. It's the truth," and takes him to where his father is buried, and it shows like what's written on his father's gravestone, and then right next to it you see Holland's gravestone.
Yeah, and
as
it's like
well.
1 year after his father's death.
Yeah, 1 year after his father's death in March. So
Yeah. And it turns out that he got strangled along with a cat that he was trying to kill.
I don't think he got strangled. I think he just fell down the well, and that's what
No, I
killed him.
think it said he also got hung
Mm.
or
I thought it
hanged.
was he fell down the well. Because I remember
Anyways,
like
he
the
died.
image. Yeah, I remember the image of him like being at the bottom of the well, and his like him dying on impact or whatever. That's what I think happened,
I
but
don't know.
I don't know.
For some reason, I remember him getting hanged along with
Yeah,
the
the cat was hanged.
hanged.
I don't think he meant to like fall. I think
Yeah.
he just leaned a little too far to see the cat.
Yeah.
And then it ended up falling.
Yeah. He wasn't trying to. But,
Yeah.
So,
and then,
yeah, and then we start finding out that actually, like, the ring was never really given to Niles, and Niles kind of imagined it, and that Holland was like dead, and like he was imagining Holland telling him to cut off his finger and like take the ring because he couldn't get the ring off of the
and
finger.
he was imagining this in the same way that he would like play the game with his grandmother, which he would like visualize and feel things, and he kind of took on the act of like acting as Holland and himself at the same time when interacting with Holland's like corpse in the casket or coffin.
Choke me like you hate me? No. Okay.
Nope.
No.
Well, that is a corpse, but you know. Anyway, moving on. And then it goes to like talk about the extent of the like mother like being. She's like now like. They describe her as like she can't really talk or like move or anything, and it's kind of sad because Tori then has her baby, and like everyone's like, oh, that's so sad that like the mother can't really interact with her grandchild.
Yeah, because she was pushed down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, but everyone thinks she fell.
Yeah.
Really, she was pushed by Niles acting as Holland.
Yeah. And like before like it was revealed that it was like Niles was acting as Holland, like I actually thought Holland was alive. Like I didn't like no part of me thought that like Holland was dead, and it was just like an image. But it was like really weird because yeah, like Holland like appeared like in small parts. Like it wasn't like Holland was like continuously there throughout the book. It would be like, oh, he's gonna like go and swim in like some water, and then Holland was just like randomly appear, and it would be like, oh, wow, Holland's there. Yeah, and that was like so random.
Unanswered questions and like confusion that was like cleared up once we realized.
Yeah.
Like we're told that Holland was dead, and a figment of Niles' imagination.
Yep. Yeah.
So then there was the baby.
Yep.
And Niles really likes the baby. He really likes being an uncle. And then Holland absolutely despises the baby.
Yeah.
But as we know, Holland is just Neville, not Neville. Oh God, Niles is his
Alter ego.
alter identity.
Alter identity. Yes.
Alter. Yeah, so it's his alter. Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And then Niles takes the baby upstairs to the parents' bedroom. Well, the baby's parents' bedroom, Tori's and Ryder's bedroom, and puts baby in the, what is it called?
Cradle?
Yeah, the cradle. And then he's supposed to watch the baby while Ada get Ada her pills. And so it says that Niles then leaves the baby and then gives Ada her pills and then goes to his room and listens to his radio.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, he gave like Ada like more pills than like she should have taken.
Yeah, so she stays passed out.
Yeah.
But that's like Holland taking over.
Yeah.
And we don't find that out immediately. And then we find out that Niles comes back out of his room like a little while later and he realizes the baby is gone. And that's when like everyone's like, oh my God, the baby's been kidnapped.
Yeah. And then Ada, she like, after she wakes up later on, she starts like asking Niles, where's the baby? And Niles is just like, I don't know, ask Holland. And then she's like, Holland is dead. Like, tell me where it is. And he's like, I don't know where it is. And then she just keeps asking him. And then like she establishes again that Holland is dead.
And and she's like, you need to say it. Like you need to say that Holland is dead.
And he like admits it. And then she thinks
it's progress.
Yeah.
But it really did nothing.
Yeah, and then she asks him again, and then he's just like, I don't know, ask Holland. And then she's like, oh my gosh.
He's basically screaming it at the point. He's like screaming, ask Holland. He's like so upset.
Yeah, and I think he like genuinely doesn't know. Like,
yeah, I think, yeah.
The way it's presented in the book, it doesn't seem like he actually knew where the child was.
Yeah, I feel like he genuinely believes that Holland is still alive and that he's actually there and he's able to communicate with him and he actually does things. So, yeah, I feel like he's completely accepted that Holland is not dead.
Yeah. Like, I remember he like threw like this towel at his projection of Holland and then like it just like fell to the ground.
Yeah. It was
like kind of weird. I don't think people were watching him do that though. Or if they were, they probably thought he was like...
and then someone was like, please just pick that up off the ground.
Yeah.
Oh. And he was like, interesting.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, and so the baby's missing and they like talk to like, I think they talk to the police. I'm not entirely sure. And they give like statements about it.
Yeah, and then people start looking for it, but no one can find it. And like, and this was like during a dinner party.
This was like during the preparations, and then it eventually gets to the dinner party to celebrate Mr. Harry.
The grandfather.
The great grandfather or whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the party, they're doing like a toast or something. And then Tori comes down and she's like finally like stable-ish. And they're like, oh, let's give you some wine. And so they open the like barrel, like a barrel of wine and like start to pour.
First like they try to like get it out from the bottom, because like
they like open the nozzle thing, and they try to get some out, and it doesn't come out.
Yeah, and then they're
That's
like,
really
wait, this is like still like full. What's going on?
yeah.
And then they
And so
open
then
the
they
lid on top. And it turns out there's a baby in there. A dead one.
yeah, and
Tori.
everyone is like
Uh,
screaming and going hysterical because that's Tori's baby
Yeah. And they're
dead.
also
And
drinking that, like
yeah, they were. That's a whole nother type of trauma. Like you drank.
you
Oh my
drank.
god.
Oh my god.
You drank a dead baby.
Yeah.
You drank decomposed dead baby.
I know. And it's wine, so it's like, it's like it's probably red wine.
Yeah, so that could be blood.
Yeah. So like you wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know. Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happens. The baby died.
Yep.
And then Niles is like, Holland, how could you do something so evil? How could you have killed Tori's baby? And stuff like that. And it's kind of like he's kind of yelling at Holland in his head. And when we all know that Holland is his head, which is
Yeah. And then Ada sees him and like gets mad at him because like obviously he like kind of killed the baby.
yeah, he like killed the baby. And so Ada's actually like, okay, this has gone on like too like far.
This
Like
has gone
I
on
have
too
to do
long.
something about it.
Yeah.
It has gone too long and too far. There's too many people like dead. She's finally like, well, that's the last straw. And so she starts to like chase him through the house, and Niles is like running away, and he's like,
Yeah.
he like knows, he knows she's mad.
Yeah.
Like,
And then like he hides in a closet, I think, and then like after he hides in the closet, he goes down to the apple cellar, and Ada like finds him there, and then she starts burning up the apple cellar with a lantern. And there are like a bunch of cattails in the apple cellar, so like it was very flammable, and the whole thing was burning. And
yeah.
then yeah, and
Her
then he
plan
saw
was to,
her.
like kill them both.
Yeah, she was trying to kill both of them, but yeah, and then Niles like saw her, and then like when he saw her burning, he thought she at first looked like the angel Joy, but then he was like, wait, no, it's actually black and like very like dark and
She's the
stuff.
angel of death.
Yeah, so yeah, angel death. So like, um, and then he was like trying to find a way out, and then Holland comes by, and then he's like, "Ha, I know the exit." And then like because they put a lock on the apple cellar, but then Holland actually cut or like sawed off the lock.
Yeah, for their magic trick.
Yeah, and then they
And
escaped
Ada
through there.
didn't know this, so
Yeah,
she
so
kind of lit it on fire, thinking he had no way to escape. But he actually was able to escape and get into the house. And so Ada just burned down in not the wine cellar, the apple cellar.
yeah.
It's
And
kind of sad.
then after this, he was like sent away. Like I don't.
Yeah, by the uncle and his family.
Yeah, I don't think it said like where exactly he was sent away, but it was a place that seemed kind of like a jail, kind of. It wasn't
Yeah, it
exactly a
seemed
jail.
like a jail. I don't know. It doesn't really describe it
Yeah,
very well.
yeah. And then at the end of it, it's like, um, he's like describing the events, and he says that the people there are calling him like
Niles, even though
and then he
he
said it's even though like he
He's-
says that he's
he
Holland.
told them. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said for like it says he said he's told them for multiple years that his name is Holland, but they continually call him Niles.
Yeah, and like the face on the like stain on the ceiling, he reveals that that's like his twin's face, which would be like his
Mhm.
face.
Yeah, it's
And
kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And that's
So
how the
yeah.
book ends.
And Maddie revealed to us that she has a theory on what happened.
It could be an alternate theory.
Yes.
So my theory was just like, what if instead of it being Niles, it was just Holland pretending to be Niles to fit in. So it wasn't actually Niles having a personality disorder. It was Holland wanting to pretend to be dead. So he could get away with all his like evil doings.
Yeah.
So instead of
like maybe he
at
was
the well,
pretending to be Niles.
yeah, so instead of at the well, he pushed Niles down the well. So Niles died, and then he took on the persona of Niles. And he could act like the good child for once, and he could still like kill the rats and kill Russell and do all these things, but be unsuspected because he's Niles. And then eventually, of course, he gets like found out.
Yeah.
And sent to the institution where he's like, no, I am Holland, but they don't believe him because they actually think he's insane when he actually is Holland.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So that's like an alternate theory.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
Nope. We do not know.
Okay, so that's the end of it. So thank you for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content in the future. Make sure to follow us on our social media, which is at Coffee Plant. It is at Coffee Plant Pod.
SM or something?
I think it was Coffee Plant. We don't even
know our social media platforms. This is
Instagram. It's Coffee Plant Pod, I believe.
It's coffee_plant_SM. That's our Instagram.
Okay, sure, yeah.
You should follow it. That's our Instagram.
Yes. Yes.
We are great at this.
Yeah.
We're excellent at intros and outros.
I know. So we're at like 47 minutes, and yeah.
Lovely.
That's the end. Bye.
Bye.